everyone, welcome back to my channel. Thank you for stopping by for another episode of Write a Reads, aka we're talking about all the books I read this week and we're planning on reading this weekend. So we are here today to discuss a few books actually. So I want to start off with the books that I managed to finish this week, and this was Selin Ascends by Josiah Bancroft. So this might look backwards because like I'm filming on my iPad and long story, but I managed to finish this book. I gave this book like 4 stars, I would say, like rounded to 4 stars, so maybe like 3.75. But these are some of the notes that I had from the book. So I thoroughly enjoyed this book. I found myself laughing throughout the story. Selin is now one of my favorite characters that I've ever read. My favorite part is when he's confronted by the Red Hand and he tries to shoot him or it with his small key turn gun and it didn't do anything to the mechanical man. That part was like super funny to me because like he tried to like off him with like this like one line type thing, like like in those movies like where they have to like say like something like really like brave and macho and manly or sassy or like those kind of like one liners, but he tried to do it as well, and then it went off and it absolutely did nothing, and then he got crushed by the Red Hand. I thought that was like the funniest thing ever. Like there are often like a lot of times where I have like reactions to the books that I'm reading, and that's what I enjoy about reading books, because like some people like to watch movies or TV shows and stuff like that. I get my entertainment from books. There are times when I'm laughing, but it's not often, right, that I can read a book and like I'm just like laughing, cracking up. I'm really, really happy that I was able to, I decided to pick up the book and just give it a shot. And it was so crazy because I just randomly picked it up because I had like other things in mind. Like I'm really happy that I did decide to pick it up, and I had such an amazing experience reading it. So yeah, I said the one liner he says before the disaster blows up in his face adds comic relief to the scene. And it was moments like that sprinkled throughout the story that made me not just enjoy the story, but enjoy Selin. So yeah, like he now has become one of my favorite characters that I've read. Maybe period. I don't know. I've never really given it too much thought other than the time when I read The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I think that's the other time where I like enjoyed a character and enjoyed the entire time. His constant optimism and naivety in the midst of constant obstacles and tribulations keeps me hopeful and champion his success and roots for him despite his many shortcomings. I can't help but love his character because throughout the book, like there's just so many crazy, terrible things that happens to him and around him, and he just manages and he's able to maintain the same integrity, the same innocence, the same optimism, the same hope that he had coming in. And it inspires me to remain hopeful of his character, of his ideas, of entrusting like what he is trying to or attempting to accomplish. Obviously things might change, I don't know, but in this book I really enjoyed him throughout this entire story, even though there were times where it didn't seem as like promising, right? Like the situations and circumstances he was in and the plans he was trying to like kind of like create and commit to, it did not seem like it was plausible or possible for him, but just his spirit alone was enough to make me like at least like root for him, you know what I'm saying? Okay, so this is why I didn't give it like a full 5 stars, because to me the ending dragged. I was never good with combat/fighting scenes. The only time I managed to follow along with fighting choreography was in Malice by John Gwynne. The fighting in the book felt too long and contributed to the decrease in my enjoyment towards the end, but overall it was still an enjoyable read. Okay, and so 3.75 4 stars for that one. I'm excited for book 2. Next, we have Curvy Girl Summer, which I ended up listening to via Audible. So this is the one that I'm reading. So Curvy Girl Summer by Danielle Allen. I'm on chapter 23. I got like an hour and 37 minutes left of this thing. I was doing a buddy read with my cousin and my aunt. My cousin, she has been sucked into the world of book talk. And so she wanted to delve into a little bit of spicy books, and she wanted us to she wanted to share the experience with us. And I was like, okay, fine. You know, like I've been vocal, about me just not necessarily really being interested in romance right now. And I just have my own personal reasons as to why I just feel like when it comes down to reading romance, it just feels like things are repetitive. It's like the story arc, the narrative just kind of feels the same all the time. Like it's like you can only have but so many like plots. You know what I'm saying? It feels like I have been like finding romance books like I've on Audible, because I'm thinking to myself, like, maybe if I listen to it, I might enjoy it I might enjoy it more. It's just lighthearted, like rom-com kind of like stuff. So when she came to me with the Curvy Girl Summer book, I was like, I think I've seen it before. I was like, okay, yeah, it's fine. I don't mind. And so right off rip, like the first like chapter, the first page, like Aaliyah is having an experience, a spicy experience. And I thought that was pretty funny, especially when you're listening to it. I was like, wow, this is crazy. But the more I listened to it, the more I just knew I really didn't care too much for the story, for the character. It could be because of the narrator. I'm not really sure. Maybe, probably. But to me, Aaliyah was very annoying. I could care less about her. And I have my reasons why I didn't really like Aaliyah that much. So I've been listening to this book via Audible book. I was immediately not a fan of the main character, Aaliyah. She was very annoying, and I did not like how she presumed that Adam was married, and yet that didn't stop her from developing feelings for him, borrowing his image to pleasure herself, grinding on him in public at the club. It just felt like she was trying to gaslight me into making it seem like it wasn't bigger than what it was, right? Like, yeah, sure, I'm grinding on his private area, and I think that he's married, right? Because I say it multiple times while I'm at the club. I'm like, he's such a good married man, but I'm gonna grind on him a little bit. Her excuse for that was because he wasn't standing still. So he wasn't standing still, and then she was like grinding on him. So therefore it didn't count. It was all friendly. I was just like, who are you talking to? Are you like talking to me? Like, are you serious? And when she does her little thing, when she gets her little rocks off and she decides to use his image, it was because, right? The mental gymnastics she does, right? The mind magic she does. She says it's because he was the last person that she interacted with. And that's why she chose him. Not because she was feeling some type of way, right? Here's the reason why I know she knows that this is wrong is because when she has conversations with her friends, she omits those experiences, right? Those situations, right? With Ahmad. Now, regardless of how the situation unfolds, right? Regardless how the whole situation, the truth comes to the light. What if he was married? Like, what if he literally had a wife? Right? What if he literally had a wife and you did this? Like, come on, this is crazy. And I felt like I was being gaslit into rooting for her. And I was just like, I'm not on your side. Like, sorry. Like, I will respect somebody who's like, I know you married and I don't care. I want you because I want you. I can respect that. But if you're sitting here trying to do mind magic on me, I don't appreciate that, because it's like, now you insult my intelligence. Even when she finds out that he isn't married, she then makes it an issue by concluding that the reason why he never explained why he wore the ring was because he didn't care about her, right? Despite him explaining to her why he wore a ring in the first place. She dismissed his car accident, him going to therapy, his therapist understanding why he wore the ring and giving him that freedom to, and witnessing the many women that threw themselves at him. She forced this narrative to make this act seem as if it was this big lie directed towards her. I felt like it was selfish, inconsiderate, and self-centered. Here's the situation, okay? Ahmad's not married. He's not married. He used to be. His wife passed away. But what had happened was because she gave him the ring, and he holds a lot of the guilt from her death, right? He keeps the ring, but then he realizes eventually when he goes to therapy that he uses the ring as the defense mechanism, because at his job, a lot of women, they all like him, right? They're drawn to him. They try to flirt with him and all this kind of stuff. And so he's comfortable with wearing the ring to just not ward them off, but add a boundary. You know what I'm saying? And so that's understandable, because it's like, here's the thing. I'm reading this book, and she wants us to have empathy or sympathy for her because she's fat. She's a woman of color. But it's like, we literally see a situation where Ahmad is sexualized, but not someone as a human being who has his trauma. And he's in a job environment where none of that matters. And Aaliyah can't seem to understand, coming from someone who experiences fat phobia, who experiences misogyny, or who experiences disrespect, by other people outside of herself, right? Whether it be strangers, the men that she's dating, or her own family, you would think that she has enough in her to empathize, right? And in one moment, she actually does. She feels sorry enough to want to console him, right? When he tells her the truth, right? But then it doesn't matter anymore. Then it still becomes about her being victimized, him doing something to her, when it's not even the case. It's like, okay, so he didn't tell you that he wasn't really married, but then he explained to you he didn't tell you because at the time he didn't know you. Okay, granted, you guys become friends and he allows you to continue to think that way, but then he explains to you he didn't think you cared enough to inquire, because you were going on all these dates at his bar. So it's like, you ain't saying nothing, so he ain't saying anything. You know what I'm saying? And so it's like, I get where we can sit here and do the mind-bending tricks or whatever the case may be, but at the end of the day, he had a legitimate reason why he did what he did. So why are we sitting here why are we doing this? You know what I'm saying? Why are we doing this? Why is this about you? Why are we making this about you? Mind you, okay, we already know that there's tension there. We already know that, both of them have some type of, they have some type of, they feel some type of way about each other. They have feelings for each other, whatever the case may be. But it's like, Aaliyah wants to turn the switch on and off whenever it's convenient for her. You know what I'm saying? Despite her friends telling her, that based off of what they've perceived, what they've observed, they can tell that, Ahmad likes Aaliyah. Aaliyah can sense it herself in some, in moments. I get sometimes feeling like, maybe he does, maybe he doesn't. But it's like, at the end of the day, you are not communicating your feelings to him. He's not communicating his feelings to you. But at the same time, you are going on all these dates every Friday. So it's like, why should he feel comfortable opening up and saying something and it's not promised? You know what I'm saying? Because you're constantly telling him about these dates, and so he feels like he constantly has to be supportive of you and help you out with these situations. So it's like, at the end of the day, instead of pointing the finger, just acknowledge, okay, I can see where you haven't expressed how you felt about me. I can see where, I could have expressed how I felt about you and I didn't. But it's like, come on, y'all are literally staring at each other all the freaking time. Like, it's like the world literally passes y'all by and y'all literally locked in with y'all eyes, like, what seems like forever. So it's like, seriously, like, come on with the excuses. Whatever. And then when their bodies finally collide, she convinces herself that he only did it because he was jealous that she was on a date and only wanted a physical experience and nothing else. You want to know why she gets away with thinking that? Because he tries to tell her and she decides she's going to leave. She's not going to stay. She's not going to listen to him. I'm going to go. I can't take this. I'm going to leave. And it's like, what are we doing here? Why are we doing this? Why is this story this long? Why do we have to sit here and allow, okay, and enable Aaliyah to continue to be this way? Okay, so she goes on this date with Tyrone, right? And she's like, I gotta go to the bathroom, right? So she locks eyes with Ahmad. She's like smiling or whatever. She leaves. Ahmad leaves his post, right? Because it's busy. He leaves his post to go follow Aaliyah. And he's like, are you okay? Like, what's wrong? Is everything all right? Like, tell me, what do you want? Like, tell me. And she's like, I don't want to talk. He's like, just tell me. Tell me what you want from me. Tell me what you want me to do. And she's like, I don't want to talk right now. So then they have the interaction, right? And then after everything is done, right? And while they're doing it, he's talking to her. He's like, just tell me what you want from me. Like, I just want to hear it. Just be honest, be truthful. Just tell me. And then she's like, I don't want to talk. I don't want to talk. And then so she finally says, I want you. Right? It's all right. So it's established. He said, okay, the reason why I didn't tell you about the ring, because you were going on these dates and, I didn't really know how to know what to take from it and blah, blah, blah. So it's like, there's an understanding, right? They're done. They're smiling. They're putting their clothes back on. Freaking Ahmad is wiping his mouth. Okay. It's all done. It's all said and done, but it's not enough. It's not enough. And Aaliyah runs out the bar. And I'm just like, girl, why are you this way? I was like, am I like this? Like, are we like this? Like, do we really make things more complicated than it is? Anyways, like, the man begged her. Like, he even apologized to her. He apologized. He said sorry. I mean, he wanted an apology too, but she didn't feel like she needed to apologize to him. But it's like, okay, fine, whatever. So honestly, and also too, I would say this, okay? Because I know, like, my aunt and my cousin, they loved Ahmad. They thought he was just so funny. To me, he wasn't completely off the hook. It was constantly at Aaliyah's expense. I did not like it. It came off as him using Aaliyah as a punching bag and a punchline. And his inability to convey his thoughts and emotions felt childish and weak to me personally. From him calling her the hamburger thief to Green Lantern to Pink Panther, like all the stuff like that. It's like, I don't think it's cute. I don't like it. I don't have a sense of humor. I don't fall in love with someone who constantly like makes fun of me to my face all the time and to other people. Like, I don't have that humor where I can go back and forth with you. It's like, I don't find it funny. I find it low-key embarrassing and childish, if I'm being honest. And so I didn't think it was cute at all. And like, anyways, moving on. Okay. So currently I'm in the middle of reading Real by Ryan Kennedy. Okay, I'm currently on page 191 of this book. So it follows two perspectives. It follows Neva and Cannon. So Neva is a aspiring actress who works on Broadway. At the time, she is understudying for at a play. The lead actress that she's understudying takes a vacation and then she fills the role, and that whole week she just really like blows it out of the performance out of the water. At her first performance, a director named Cannon sees her and he is completely in awe of her performance, and he wants to cast her as his leading lady in this musical, like this docu film about a lady named Desi Blue, who was looked upon as a hidden jewel in America's history. And so he kind of wants to do like a Dorothy Dandridge kind of film where he explores Desi's life and her impact in Hollywood, or her impact in African American culture, as well as American culture around that time period. We follow these two perspectives as they work together, and they develop feelings for each other, and they try to suppress those feelings for one another because they're living in a work environment that could potentially mess up the project or mess up one another's image, or or whatever the case may be. It's even worse for Neva because she isn't well known, right? She's breaking out into Hollywood, and this is going to be her first featured film, where she is the lead role. And so if it looks like, or it's perceived that she is having a relationship with Cannon, it wasn't because of her talent or her hard work, but it was because she's sleeping with the director. And for Cannon, it will kind of mess things up for him, not as much as Neva, but because previously he was directing a film where he was dating this actress named Camille, and the breakup was really crazy, and it messed up the whole like movie. He got fired, and it was like this big like drama that kind of escalated like really fast and blew up in like the production company's face. And so he doesn't want to have that experience again. I am enjoying it. I really like Kennedy Ryan's writing. At times it's very poetic, almost to a fault. There are times where there are words that are being used, and it just really kind of throws me out of the story, because it's like I get what is being said, but it's like when you use certain words, it just feels weird, right? Like there's a moment in here where Cannon is talking to he's talking to the team, right? They're about to do like a we call it like a open, like they're about to do a cold read of the entire film, right? And so the cast and crew are at the table, and they're reading the film for the first time, and he says something that I was just like, oh my god, that kind of sounds a little weird to me. I gotta find it because I didn't circle it. Okay, so he goes, Mallory outdid herself casting this movie. I was anal about the role of Desi, but Mallory and I have been working together for years. I trust her instincts, and they did not fail me. Anal, I get what you're saying here, but it feels weird, right? It feels weird, especially since this is a romance, and they're supposed to be, the stakes are, the intensity is high. There's lust here, all these kinds of things, right? When you use that word, it just kind of feels weird because it's such a casual situation and a casual scene, a casual environment. So when you use that word, it just feels really funny to me. There's another moment where I was like, okay, what the heck? It was funny to me. Okay. I thought this was funny. So another casual situation. So Neva is they're rehearsing, but they're kind of actually doing the full ensemble, the dance ensemble. And so she's with the dancers, actors, actresses, and the choreographer, and they're all going over the number, right? So she goes, sweat drizzles between my breasts, coats my neck and arms like dew. In the thrall of this dance, a syncopated stomp, I drew the wine of winding hips. I dip. I sway in an intercourse of jazz and blues and swing. To me, it feels like it brings my mind to this feeling of, and I get what's happening here, right? Jazz and swing, right? And the blues, they're all intertwining. They're working together, right? I get what's happening here. But when you use the word intercourse to describe how you are becoming one with the music is becoming one with each other, the music is becoming one with the dancing, it just feels weird to me because it's you're literally around a bunch of other people who are working, right? And so I don't want to paint an image of something sexual when it's not the situation. You know what I'm saying? And so even the word breast in itself, I was just like, okay, like it feels like in certain times, like there's like a level of spice that's kind of like a little dash there, where it's like, the environment doesn't necessarily call for. But I get what's being said here. I know what the word means, but it just feels weird. Even this woman's hands, slim and elegant and decorated with ink, have the potential to turn me on, so I never look long. And damn it to hell, it's her swallowing that pours cement all over my joint. He didn't say joint, he said the C word. But pours cement, really? I feel like when words like that kind of happens, or descriptions or like similes like that happen, I feel like I'm being yeeted out of the book. And I'm like, yo, what the freak? Like, this is crazy to me. And I'm just like, cement? Really? I get you're trying to say, like, your joint is overcome by hardness. It's like cement that's very uncomfortable. Another thing that I think is like super funny is like things like it becomes so descriptive almost to the point where it's like time consuming. There are moments where they're like locking eyes, and in between them locking eyes, they're having like these long descriptive internal dialogues, and I'm just sitting there and I'm like, how long is this taking? It kind of reminds me of like when you watch Power Rangers, and the Power Rangers they start to morph. So it's like they're like, it's morphin' time, and then they morph, and then like they go through this morphing montage where each character has to transform their uniform into a more powerful uniform, and they do the flips and they got the choreography and all that stuff like that, and it makes you think like, what are the bad guys doing when all of this is happening? It kind of feels like that. Like, it's like when they're locking eyes all the time, because they do it often, and they are like having this like internal dialogue. I'm just sitting there thinking like, what is like, is that like that other person is clearly looking at them, but it's like, how long are they looking at each other for? Because I'm not the fastest reader, so it appears that this is happening for a long time, and I'm just like, this happens all the time, and to me, I just find it funny. Once I've noticed it, it's just so hard for me to not notice it, and it just feels funny every single time. I think there's like one more thing I took notes on, because I just thought it was kind of funny to kind of go on into like my discussion of the writer's tone or the writer's language as opposed to the character's language, right? So I said the dramatic wordplay is starting to feel forced, unnecessary, and over the top. And then I talk about this line here where it says, so Neva goes, I check his expression to see if he means it, but unlike me, Canon is opaque glass, frosted by his iron control, so I'll take him at his word. And then when we go into her, like, when she's like, the italicized, like inner thoughts, she says to herself, Neva, this is why we can't have nice things. If you're going to say, you have to stop this inner drool dialogue. And I don't know, to me, it just kind of feels like I can spot the difference between, like, it just makes me feel like the observable dialogue, right? The observable narration just feels a tad bit more mature and poetic than the actual character's internal dialogue. Feels very juvenile and a tad bit immature. I notice it, and it's so weird, but it's not enough to like deter me from reading it and like enjoying the reading experience. Like, I'm having a really good time. We're at the point in their relationship, in their interactions, where they're deciding, like, screw all that. Like, I feel the way I feel about you. And, although we don't have to take it far, by actually like passing that threshold, right? That physical, that spicy threshold. I want you to know that I like you. I want you to know how I feel about you. And we can we can go behind a little fake back alley or whatever and have a little conversation, tease a little bit. You know what I'm saying? And so I like that. I love this book. Like, this book is like, to me, I feel like I want to read more of Kennedy Ryan's books. I've actually listed a bunch of her books on my Amazon account because I would love to get her other books. And also too, there is this sports series that's on Audible that I can listen to for free. So I'm definitely gonna check those out. But I do think that it is a little bit dramatic, with the descriptions and certain wordplay, or certain choices of words. And so I get that, but I'm starting to see where sometimes like being simple is powerful. Being simple is enough. Oh yeah, I love Canon. I love Canon. I actually prefer Canon's character over Neva, which is understandable because Neva is like 30 or something and Canon is like 37. He's like, I like him a lot. I like his perspective. I enjoy it. There are also too some scripts that's in there, and it kind of helps to create this like we are in a movie, we're shooting a movie kind of environment. Having the scripts being spread out, it also too allows us to tap into Desi Blue's story. I'm not really a fan of the script, it's all right, but being able to like read a script again brings me nostalgic vibes because I used to study theater as a kid. I used to study theater when I was in school, so that's a fun little touch to it. Okay, before I end this, I do want to talk about some books that I got. This is The Good Girl by Aria Aber, and also to Dream Count by Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie. These two books I saw was a part of the Women's Booker Longlist Prize, I think it's called. There are other books that are on the list, but there were 3 books that I was interested in by the synopsis. One of them I wasn't able to get. I think it was called Burning by Rose Rubin or something like that. I wasn't able to get it. But these 2 books I was interested in and I wanted to read it. I was feeding to read it. I didn't want to wait till the paperback book comes because I like to read books that are in paperback form. I do not like hardcover because it hurts my hands. But I was really excited to read it because I want to see why they got chosen if they are the ones that end up getting picked. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. Hope you guys were able to enjoy yourselves. Make sure you guys have a great day, afternoon, evening, night, morning, wherever you're watching in the world. And until next time, peace.